everybody, this is Jacob's Journey, and we're going to go over a few topics today. Operation Northwoods and 9/11. These are my glasses I'm wearing today. Normally I wear contact lens, but I'm wearing these kind of give my eyes a break today. And I'm currently 6 safety topics in, so we're pretty good in safety topics today. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about the topics of today is Operation Northwoods and 9/11. Now you might be asking yourself, Adam, what's Operation Northwoods? Well, I'm gonna tell you guys right now what it is. All right. And I'm glad. Alright, and then I'm glad you guys asked me, and I'm going to tell you. Alright, so Operation Northwoods was a plan to form by the U.S. government in 1962 to stage false flag terrorism against the U.S. and abroad to provoke military intervention in Cuba. The proposal was called for the CIA operatives to both stage and commit acts of terrorism against American military and civilian targets, blame them on Cuba government, and will be used to justify a war against Cuba. So what we wanted to do was stage something, right, to, oh God, oh Cuba, oh they're dicks, let's attack them, right, by the U.S., civilians, right. What they did, the government wanted to take a civilian aircraft, repaint it as to look like a U.S. Air Force plane, fabricate it getting shot down off the coast of Cuba. That sounds a whole lot about a couple things I've seen. Maybe a couple towers, a couple planes involved, if you will. Right? They were talking to JFK about the idea that they want to assassinate Cuban immigrants, seeking boats of Cuba refugees in high seas, blowing up U.S. ships, orchestrating terrorism in U.S. countries. All these proposals that they gave to JFK, he shot down. We're going to take a quick little safety pause here. All right, and we're back with Jacob's Journey, and we're about 7 topics in, 8 probably 9. All right, so why the interest in Cuba, right? What they do, right? Why the U.S.? Who cares, right? What they do, right? Okay, so the CIA was watching Fidel Castro lead his army to a communist revolution, right? He threw out the American-friendly dictator. This was the start of the Cold War, right? A communist country was now 90 miles away from threatening to spread to the other countries and Latin America, right? And the American people, the American country, American government, really didn't want that to happen, right? So other countries that America wanted to keep in control and making money off of, and the government didn't want Fidel Castro to hook up with the Soviet Union leader, right? So that was their main concern, was the Soviet Union. All right, so they came up with the Operation Northwoods, and they did come up with some more solutions to the problem first, right? One being they blocked all U.S. exports from Cuba. Number 2, they stopped buying sugar from Cuba, which sugar was Cuba's main export. to the U.S., which this kind of backfired for the U.S., in which the Soviet Union started buying sugar from Cuba, which in turn made them an ally to Cuba, which was the opposite of what the USA wanted, right? And then third, the U.S. stated making plans, Operation Northwoods, and the government wanted to get Fidel Castro out of power, and it turned Cuba back into the American-friendly client state that the USA wanted. That's what they wanted, to get Fidel out of there, turn them back into a friendly state. Everything's calm, cool, and collective, right? All right, and they want to do this at any cost. All right, now Operation Zempada. The CIA recruited 15 Cuban refugees that fled from Miami during the Cuba Revolution. So there were 1,500 of them that said, you know what, this guy's crazy. Fidel, he's crazy, he's nuts, man. We're not going to take this. We're leaving. We're trying to leave, right? The USA said, all right, come on, I got you. All right, let's go to Guatemala, and we're going to hold up, and you guys are going to be cool. We're going to protect you. All right, in return, we want you to learn how to shoot, learn how to protect yourself, fire, be our army against Fidel Castro, and then later try to turn him over and kill him, right? And Tom Cruise, he made a movie out of this back in 2017 called American Made. All right, I'm sorry about that. We took a quick safety pause there, and we got about 10 safety pauses in. Doing pretty good about that, right? The idea was to have them invade Cuba and remove Fidel Castro from power. And JFK approves of this plan. So JFK does approve of this plan to use the refugees to take Fidel out of power, right? So on April 17th, 1961, they attacked Cuba, right? But it was a complete failure. Fidel Castro found out about this ahead of time, and there was actually 9 Americans who flew B-26s that were shot down that were trying to help Cuba refugees take power, and they were killed. All right, people, they were gone. All right, he killed them. This is something the CIA would deny for over 30 years, but it happened, okay? JFK later fired the CIA director, Alan Dulles, where he held him completely responsible for the whole thing. So now the government needed a new plan, right? So now JFK comes up with his own plan that was called the Cuban Project, aka Mongoose. Alright. They sent spies, Navy submarines, tried to assassinate him a dozen times. The mafia even tried to get him to drink pills that would kill him, but none of it worked. And by now the government was getting desperate, and they needed to solve the problem before the Soviet Union get more involved in the island of Cuba, right? So they wanted to resolve this problem before Cuba set up base. Not Cuba, Soviet Union set up base in Cuba, so that was the dilemma here. So after all the failed attempts to get rid of this guy, the government said the only way is to send our American troops over there to take him out. But they knew the American people would not like the idea of us just invading them, so they needed to justification, and it takes us back to the operation in Northwoods. In other words, a lie to tell the American people in order to get what the government wants. And the government wanted to do this within a few months. Right? So the Soviet Union wouldn't put a base on Cuba, which we just talked about. But JFK wouldn't approve of the operation, so it never happened. So JFK said, you're not gonna shoot down our ships. You're not going to shoot anything on American soil in order to get what you want. I respect that. And he said no to that operation. So we're going to take a quick safety pause here, and we'll get back with you in a few minutes. All right, people, and we're back. We're about 10, 11 safety topics in, and ultimately what I'm trying to say here is that, and let me get this right. (1962), right? They were doing all this, right? Nibliating, right? Trying to say different things, all right? Trying to orchestrate different governments, trying to manipulate the people and thinking it was something else when really what it was us, right? All right. We're trying to say that 9/11, that beam was burnt in half. Steel beams, people, were being burnt. Right? That was done by fire. Okay? That was done by fire. Okay? That would never happen by fire. Okay? So, they were doing this back in 62, right? Blaming it on somebody else. This time it was the Soviet Union, right? 9/11 was Afghanistan, right? What's the objective, right? My theory, and this is only my opinion, to YouTube, my disclaimer, alright, this is only my opinion, it doesn't matter to nothing, right? Is oil, right? We were after oil, right, from Afghanistan, right, from the Bush administration, okay? Alright, we wanted oil. They had it, we didn't. Let's invade them and get the oil. They came up with that plan. Pretty much worked. Okay? It's only my opinion. Jacob's Journey, out.